Welcome to Better with Art. I'm Melinda, and I'm here to encourage you to reclaim your creativity and establish a healthy habit of creative self-care with weekly small art prompts that can be done in an art journal or on paper if you don't have one. I have collected some circles for today's project, which is a little different than anything I've done before, but also similar. As you can see, I'm using Sharpies. You can use any marker, any pen, any pencil. You don't have to use color. I decided to use color this time, not just black. And I wanted to start with my black, but I didn't want to damage the lighter colors going over. So I am going to start with my lightest color and work my way to my darkest. So I have this interesting green. And the first thing I'm going to do is just draw some random circles on my page. Imperfectly, that's okay. Don't need to get too crowded yet because I still have two colors, as mentioned. Guess maybe I could have added a border, but drawn some circles, and now I'm going to do the familiar neurographic wavy lines that you have seen me do before if you've been around a while. But I've never done them in green or with random circles. So, if you know what's next, if you've been around for my style of neurographic art, you know that next comes softening all those pointy places, jagged places where lines cross. And you can use the simple act of smoothing out, softening those sharp points to encourage that within yourself. And if you go way offline like I just did, that's okay. We're just making our pointy, sharp places rounded and smooth. So this is an interesting green. It's interesting how it changes color as it dries. As I mentioned, you don't have to use Sharpies. I really liked the brand of marker, colored marker I used recently in a video. I believe it was Bic. And if you get too far off course, you can just make another line. There are definitely no rules to this, except taking the sharp, hard, pointy places and making them smooth, making them gentler. I have been enjoying the interaction in the Facebook group. And again, I say how I appreciate that. It is only encouraging. Well, I appreciate it, and it's also all that I allow. If you are interested in joining us, you will find a link in the description. I try to stay as active as possible, interacting in the group. I'm not as good at that as... That came out backwards. I'm better at that than I am keeping up with the email prompts that extend the week's prompt. Writing prompts that extend the week's prompts. Not doing much talking, am I? I hope if you're one of those ASMR enjoying individuals, you're also getting something out of this on top of the art. Well, on top of the encouragement to make your own art. So, looking for some more of the jagged places before I move on to another color. And I'll start the same way by creating circles. Don't think too much about it, just create. There's something so relaxing in drawing circles and soft lines. I do have to say that trying to film myself tracing a circle and not bump the camera or anything isn't as relaxing. It's just freehanding circles, to be honest. So if you want to just freehand some circles, whether yours come out perfectly circular or not, just make some circles. And some soft wavy lines. And some neurographic softening. I don't know about you, but life seems crazy busy lately. You always think after such and such things will slow down, but there's always another such and such that comes along. And I know it can seem difficult or impossible or unreasonable to take time to make art. But it is so good for our mental health. And our mental health is pretty important. Reclaiming my creativity has been transformative for me. I am so much healthier and more balanced. And it took me years to get to the point where I would accept the necessity of art making to my well-being. Literally years. And now I'm here to encourage you to not make the same mistake. And yeah, I have finally stepped into my identity as an artist, not just someone who needs to make art. And you may want to say, well, yeah, that's great for you. You're an artist. Of course you make time for art every day. You don't have to consider yourself an artist to need to make art on a regular basis. But if you're wired to need to make art, you need to make art on a regular basis. It's not a waste of time. And I understand we can't just sit down and make art whenever we want to. However, we can choose to make taking time for creative self-care art making a priority. We can accept it as a necessity, not just a pleasure, not just a privilege. I don't know what my life would look like today if I hadn't finally accepted my need to make art. Not just in the accepting I'm an artist sense, but just emotionally, mentally. I hope you have never struggled with severe depression, but I have. And art is one of the things that keeps me from falling back into that pit of despair. I hope you have never and do never experience despair, but if you have, you're not the only one. And as a survivor, I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that art helps. And maybe you're someone who does recognize the importance of art making to your mental health, but just have lost your desire and motivation to make it. So as well as providing prompts that are relatively quick, you can invest more time in them as you have it. But if you only have 15 minutes, it's my goal to give you something you can do in that time that is healthful. And as inexpensive and accessible as possible. And I've talked about both those things repeatedly, but here's another thing. If you are an artist who is not making art because your mood disorder, your struggle with anxiety or depression has left you without inspiration. You can borrow it. You're here on YouTube and you are watching my video, and I am giving you an easy but amazingly therapeutic little project. And if you don't have an art journal, use paper. And if you want to use that paper as an art journal, just find a folder, because one of the benefits of an art journal is the privacy to experiment and express ourselves without fear of what others will think. I'm a little jumbled in what I'm saying, and I hope when I listen back I can find that it's more logical than I feel right now. More sensible than I feel. I hope I'm articulating in a way that is helpful. Creativity is an integral part of our identities, whether we're wired to make physical art or not. But physical art, even for people who don't feel particularly artistic, can be amazingly therapeutic. It can help with anxiety and depression, PTSD, be a general stress reliever. But you do have to let go of expecting a particular outcome. You have to let go of thinking it should look a particular way and the need to love it and be proud of the product over the process. My simple form of art journaling is not about producing perfect art. It's about perfectly accepting the need to make it and allowing yourself to get lost in the process. Let your mind just relax and create. Draw lines, make marks, lay down color, or bold marks of black. I think it's time for my black. I have appreciated some very encouraging responses to Better with Art prompts. And I so appreciate the opportunity to encourage you to take time for creative self-care and make the art. My 100 collage papers series has ended, but Wednesday videos will also continue. They are where I share more of my outside of art journal art. Some of it is simple and inexpensive. And some of it is Well, it's not a 15-minute project in an art journal. Both of these areas of my artistic life are important to me and of value. I share to encourage others to make art. I also share because I'm an artist and this is what I want to do with my life. I want to make art, and I want to encourage others to make art and give them tools with which to do so. Whether it's learning new techniques and skills, for collage making or art paper making, or it's a simple project that someone sees and decides to take the time to sit down and make it and feel healthier for doing so. It's all important to me. For those of you who discovered me through my 100 collage papers and are interested in learning more will be coming. And for those of you who feel overwhelmed just trying to make the time, for a small art project in your art journal, I'll be continuing to create for both of you. We work with what we have and make progress as we can. I would love to someday have a larger studio where I could host workshops and therapeutic art sessions, as a result of some things I've done at the library. One type of workshop I would like to offer is for special needs individuals and their caregivers. There are so many things I like to do with my art. And yes, so many ways I would like to help people find the healing and the pleasure and the release. Yeah, the pleasure. The healthful pleasure of art making. You know that feeling when you feel like you've found your purpose, but you're still not quite sure all the ways it's intended to be used? I feel like this video has been very rambly. If anyone is if anyone has ever wondered how scripted my videos are, well, yeah, no. Sometimes I have more of an idea of where I'm going and what I need to say. And I just got deceived by a purple line again. But that's okay. I feel like I do need some more purple. Or maybe a darker green. I don't know, but I've definitely been doing this more than 15 minutes and wandering around in my attempts to encourage you to take time for creative self-care art making, remind you that it's not a waste of time. And yes, I am living proof. If you're feeling inspired to make some art, give me a thumbs up. Kind comments, always appreciated. Share with someone you know needs to be reminded that taking time for creative self-care is not a waste of time. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. As mentioned, I have my Sunday Better with Art prompts. And although I just finished my 100-day projects with my 100 collage papers, Wednesday art videos will continue a little more focused. And will include the translucent layer piece that I've shared in Reels and won second place at the art show I entered it in. It can feel that there aren't enough hours in the day to do everything we'd like to do. There's a freehand rounded shape. I didn't feel the need for a straight up circle, which is convenient because I can't really draw one, so that's okay. Take some time to make art. It's not a waste of time. And your mental health is worth it.